It's Godzilla.
We need Kong. The world needs him. To stop what's coming.
The last several years have seen a resurgence in certain types of films, including a true rebirth in America for the kaiju films. Once upon a time, King Kong and Godzilla films were the biggest things around, but then their appeal started to fade. But with the more recent American Godzilla films and Kong Skull Island, things changed. And now, these two massive creatures are not only returning to the big screen, they're going to war. And we are all a witness to their extreme power. Exciting, isn't it? Allow us to tell you everything we know about Godzilla vs. Kong. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Synopsis. So there's obviously a lot to dissect, not the least of which is the trailer that we'll be talking about throughout this video. But let's start off with the fully released synopsis of Godzilla vs. Kong, which, not surprisingly, states quite a bit about the film and how these epic kaiju are about to collide, whether the human race wants them to or not. Legends collide in Godzilla vs. Kong as these mythic adversaries meet in a spectacular battle for the ages. With the fate of the world hanging in the balance, the synopsis states, Kong and his protectors undertake a perilous journey to find his true home. And with them is Gia, a young orphaned girl with whom he has formed a unique and powerful bond.
She's the only one he'll communicate with.
But they unexpectedly find themselves in the path of an enraged Godzilla, cutting a swath of destruction across the globe. The epic clash between the two titans, instigated by unseen forces, is only the beginning of the mystery that lies deep within the core of the Earth. So that alone says a lot about a lot. But there are some things you do need to know before we dive into all this madness. Number 7. Rematch. Here's the thing. While this fight is easily going to be one of the greatest monster mashes in history, it's hardly the first of its kind. And not even the first matchup between Kong and Godzilla. That would be King Kong vs. Godzilla movie that happened back in 1962. And needless to say, it was a bit cheesy. You need to remember that back then, special effects weren't a priority at all, nor was logic. Because as many people would note, Kong has an inherent disadvantage to Godzilla due to his lack of long-range attacks, while Godzilla has the atomic breath, and even the super-atomic breath. Which, in one timeline, he gained by absorbing the soul of a dead dinosaur. Believe it. Anyway, in that movie, Kong is almost killed, gets struck by lightning, and uses it to defeat Godzilla. Technically. They both end up in the ocean, and only Kong is seen again. And since Godzilla can live underwater, that led many, including characters in the movie, to believe that he wasn't gone. But the creators of the movie admitted, the winner is King Kong. So that was almost 60 years ago. Effects have gotten a lot better, and the trailer made it clear that this is going to look killer. Pun intended. Number 6. One Will Fall. Another key element of the trailer and the movie itself is that the tagline for it is "One will fall," meaning that one of these two behemoths has to die in one form or another. Or, at the very least, there must be a winner. No, they could win kind of thing. Now, usually, this would mean that they'd use the loosest form of that phrase to try and please everyone, and yet still allow more movies to be made and thus make more money. But apparently that won't happen here. I do want there to be a winner, director Adam Wingard told Entertainment Weekly. The original film was very fun, but you feel a little let down that the movie doesn't take a definitive stance. People are still debating now who won in that original movie, you know? So I do want people to walk away from this film feeling like, okay, there is a winner. Notice he said there is a winner, which doesn't necessarily mean that Kong or Godzilla will die, but rather that one of them will be the true king of the monsters. Which brings us back to the trailer and to the synopsis, and what we see and hear via them. Number 5. Something is wrong with Godzilla. When it comes to monster movies, most people don't really care how or why monsters are fighting as long as they are epic in the fights themselves. However, with Godzilla vs. Kong, we get the indication that something is forcing this fight, and not in a good way. Because remember, the last two Godzilla movies and Skull Island for Kong are the canon in this particular kaiju-filled universe, and both of them were very much on the side of humanity in one form or another. We even see characters from King of the Monsters via Millie Bobby Brown and Kyle Chandler proclaiming to the viewers that something is wrong with Godzilla.
There's something provoking him that we're not seeing here.
I'm of the same opinion.
They don't know why he's attacking, and that something is provoking him. Clearly, it's only affecting him and not Kong, or we'd really be in trouble. So thus, there's not only going to be fights, but a mystery. Who is manipulating Godzilla, and to what end? Well, thanks to the trailer and a detailed synopsis, we may have clues. Number 4. Unseen Forces. What's a monster movie without a human subplot? A good monster movie. That's what. Just saying. Anyway, in the trailer, we see early on that there are two men talking about dark times, and one of them is the very definition of sinister looking, which is fine overall, but what their roles are is unclear at this time. What's more, in the synopsis, we hear that the fight between Godzilla and Kong was instigated by unseen forces, which means that these humans, or a large group of them, could be trying to control Godzilla to their own ends, which, if you recall, was a method talked about in the last movie, King of the Monsters. Clearly, something has gotten to Godzilla. Could it be these humans? Or, as the synopsis also teases, could there be something within Earth's core that is influencing him? We know that Godzilla lives in the oceans, which means he's closer to the core than Kong is, which could explain why he's affected and Kong's not. There's a lot of questions, and they're only going to keep building.
These are dangerous times.
Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people and we don't know why.
Number 3. Kong's true home. Also noted in the synopsis is that Kong's protectors are trying to take him to his true home, which is curious because, remember, humanity found him on Skull Island decades before. Kong Skull Island canonically took place before the Godzilla movie in this universe. So what home are they trying to take him to? This only gets more interesting when we find out that there was an ancient war between the kaiju. Kong and Godzilla were the last ones standing. This is enforced by a shot that shows Kong looking at a bloody Kong-sized handprint.
The myths are real. There was a war.
Clearly his, or maybe someone of his kin. But does he remember it? What does this true home give Kong? And what is this home like? Given the shots in the trailer, we're likely to find out in one form or another. Number 2. Other monsters. It's easy to get lost in the beauty of seeing Kong fighting Godzilla, but if you blinked at the wrong time or looked at the wrong place, you'd see that they weren't the only kaiju in this trailer. The easiest ones to spot are the flying creatures that Kong is fighting in multiple scenes and in multiple places. These could easily be setup monsters, or creatures that live in Kong's true home. However, Eagle Eye fans spot even more creatures, including, quite possibly, Gamera, another legendary kaiju that, believe it or not, Godzilla has never met in a movie. They had a stage show, but that was it.
Gamera is fast enough to catch a missile going Mach 10, capable of flying through outer space, and tough enough to survive a nuclear explosion.
There's a shot in the trailer of a turtle shell-like entity flying through the air, which is a telltale sign of Gamera. But is it him? We'll have to wait and see. And don't forget, there is something in the Earth's core that is affecting both Kong and Godzilla. And given this universe, we wouldn't be surprised if it's a kaiju. Number 1. Kaiju War. Finally, and most importantly, we know that there will not just be fights between Kong and Godzilla. There will be multiple fights. We see a fight on the aircraft carrier that holds Kong, and then there's a fight in the city, but we wouldn't be surprised if there was more fights between these two. Plus, we also see fights with Kong just fighting with his fists, and then another where he's fighting with an axe that can also absorb the atomic breath. Epic. Director Wingard even teased that this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what we can expect. So is there any wonder why people are already so hyped for this film? Exactly. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Godzilla vs. Kong and how everything might shake out in their epic clash that we're bound to experience? Who do you have in this fight between the massive ape and the king lizard? Do you think that the "one will fall" tagline will come to fruition? What other monsters might we see in this battle? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.